Policewoman at Center of Probe into case of missing influencer Donna-Lee Donaldson retains attorney-at-law Oswest Senior-Smith to represent her. Family, friends, and well-wishers of Donna-Lee Donaldson demand that her boyfriend, who is a police constable, be removed from active duty. Over $10 million seized during targeted anti-narcotics operation in St. Andrew, and 5 people arrested in St. Catherine South in relation to robbery and weapons seizure. The woman district constable at the center of the probe into the disappearance of influencer Donna-Lee Donaldson has retained attorney-at-law Oswest Senior-Smith to represent her. The female cop has come under public scrutiny following allegations that she may be involved in the disappearance of Donaldson, who went missing on July 11. Mr. Senior-Smith said the district constable has been deemed a suspect in the matter by investigators. He also refuted claims made earlier by the High Command that the cop refused to be interviewed by investigators.
As far as my instructions go, he was characterized as a suspect after the interface with her concerning her giving a statement, and she in turn expressed that she wanted to have an attorney with her whenever she was to give, or if she was to give a statement to the police. She has never refused. She only wanted to have counsel with her.
Mr. Senior-Smith explained that with the policewoman being characterized as a suspect, certain investigative protocols now have to be followed.
There is a difference now in status. If you are not a suspect, then certainly the police could want to speak with you, and you could voluntarily respond and give a statement. If you become a suspect in the eyes of the police, they could still have an interest to speak with you, but now they have to observe certain preconditions. For example, you have to be now engaged with under what we call caution. So she'd have to be cautioned, properly cautioned, that she has a right to remain silent, and that whatever she says could be used against her ultimately in a court of law.
He said his client was contacted by the Police Inspectorate and Professional Standards Oversight Bureau, IPROBE, today.
I will endeavor to ensure that she is fully protected, that her rights are not abridged or abrogated. I have learned that the IPROBE department of the JCF has reached out to her sometime today. So I'm waiting to hear what is the development from that.
Attorney-at-law Oswest Senior-Smith. Meantime, friends, family, and well-wishers of Donna-Lee Donaldson are demanding that her boyfriend, who is a police constable, be removed from duty and be made to answer questions regarding her disappearance. The demands came after it was revealed that the constable was still on frontline duty, despite being the last person to see her alive. About 100 protesters gathered today in front of the Constant Spring Police Station, where he's stationed, before marching to the officer's apartment complex, where he reportedly took Donaldson the night she went missing. Several protesters said they are concerned about him still being on duty and the slow progress by the police in discovering her whereabouts.
Why is he at work, said we? Why is he there? The two of them they work, why? Either them stand down or them. That means that she's nobody then. True, she's not a politician or a policeman daughter. She's nobody. We need some answers. This makes no sense. I'm not supposed to be here. We need answers. They need to answer what we want. We even know what we want. Because this is right. They'll kill me up and nobody knows nothing about it. We need answers.
An aunt of Donaldson said the protest was organized by family members and that she's also seeking justice for her niece.
We are really hoping something good will come out of it. I hope that the Almighty God will let the perpetrators come forth and give us what we need.
And Donna-Lee's cousin said her hope is that the protest will be a call to action for a swifter investigative process to bring closure to the family.
I am Donna-Lee's cousin. It's been 8 days now. still no sign of Donna-Lee. No, so we broadcast on the social media. Say, we could just do one protest and see if we can get help from strangers, family, friends, because obviously the police not help you. The protest now, we want people from the apartment to come and talk. If you don't want to talk to we, want to talk to the police, just help you out. Anybody will live close. We just want justice for Donna-Lee. We want closure. If she's not there here with us same way, dead or alive, we just want closure.
Relatives of missing influencer Donna-Lee Donaldson. And the St. Andrew North Police Division has sought to direct queries from relatives of a missing influencer to the neighboring division of St. Andrew Central. This after relatives and friends of Donna-Lee Donaldson staged a protest at the Constant Spring Police Station today, demanding answers about the woman's disappearance and the alleged involvement of her male companion, who is a police officer. The cop is assigned to the Constant Spring Station and remains on active duty despite being under investigation. The missing persons case is being probed by the Criminal Investigations Branch in the St. Andrews Central Division. A previous protest by relatives had been staged at the Halfway Tree Police Station. During today's protest at the Constant Spring Station, Operations Officer for the St. Andrew North Police Division, Deputy Superintendent Donovan Dallas, sought to reason with the protesters. He pointed out that despite their calls for the male police officer to be removed from active duty, such action cannot be taken until the investigation is complete and a decision taken on possible sanctions.
Well, today we have a peaceful protest. It involves about 100 persons. Basically on the sidewalk, they were expressing their concerns. This missing female. And well, we addressed the team. We told them that, this is receiving top-level investigation. And it is basically out of our hands here. And they were really militant and we were concerned about the police officer, that they need justice, and they were inquiring if he's still at work. So basically he's our frontline duty for the time, pending the investigation.
Operations Officer for the St. Andrew North Police Division, Deputy Superintendent Donovan Dallas. In other news, the security forces seized a combined total of over 10 million Jamaican dollars in cash from one of the targeted premises in St. Andrew during the joint multi-agency anti-narcotics operation in St. Andrew and St. James today. Police said the sum seized consisted of $40,000 US, 29,000 Canadian dollars, and 537,000 Jamaican dollars. 6 high-end vehicles, that's 2 Mercedes-Benz, 1 Toyota Tacoma truck, 1 Honda CR-V, 1 Lexus motor car, and 1 Infiniti SUV were also seized. 5 people alleged to be major players in the drug trafficking trade were taken into custody during the pre-dawn anti-narcotics operation in Kingston and St. James. 2 of the persons arrested are to be extradited to the United States of America. The revelation was made by the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, MOCA. MOCA said a location in Westgate Hill, St. James was one of the targeted areas. Other agencies involved in the operation were the police's narcotics division, the counter-terrorism and organized crime investigations branch, the Jamaica Fugitive Apprehension Team, the Financial Investigations Division, and the Jamaica Defense Force. The United States Drug Enforcement Administration and U.S. Marshals were also a part of the multi-agency team. 5 people were detained by the St. Catherine South Police in 2 separate incidents this morning. In the first incident around 12:30 a.m., a 17-year-old boy and a man were arrested in connection with the seizure of a handgun and several rounds of ammunition on the Dumber-Holden Main Road in Portmore. Reported at about 12:30 a.m., a Nissan AD wagon motorcar was stopped and searched during a vehicular checkpoint operation. 1 Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol loaded with 7 9mm cartridges was seized during the search. The driver of the vehicle and the 17-year-old boy were taken into custody. Meanwhile, sometime after 4 a.m., a robbery was reportedly carried out in the Independent City area of Portmore by men traveling in a motor car. The police responded and the motor car was intercepted in the Marine Park area. 3 occupants who tried to elude the police were apprehended. The St. Catherine South Criminal Investigation Branch is probing the incidents. The two licensed firearm holders involved in yesterday's shootout in Montego Bay, St. James, will have their permits revoked if they are found to be in breach of licensing protocols. That's according to Chief Executive Officer of the Firearm Licensing Authority, Shane Darling. Mr. Darling notes that a probe is being conducted into the incident, which stemmed from an alleged dispute over bad driving. Mr. Darling said sanctions will be meted out if investigations show that the men acted irresponsibly.
Firearm holders are not above the law and are not allowed to behave lawlessly because they have a license. The Firearm Licensing Authority has launched an investigation into what occurred yesterday in some shops where between two licensed firearm holders. We have gotten the preliminary report from the police as to what transpired, and we will be carrying out our investigation to determine whether the license holders remain fit and proper persons to continue holding a firearm. The chairman of the board has asked that the report be presented early to the board for a decision to be made. Where it is found that the license holders acted in such a manner that breached all terms and conditions of the license or any condition of the license, including their general behavior as it relates to use of force and endanger in public safety, the licenses will be revoked immediately.
Mr. Darling said an initiative will be launched later this year to test if licensed firearm holders are aware of when and how to use their guns.
Therefore, licensed firearm holders will be required to satisfy the evidence through a written test that they understand the use of force requirement when holding a firearm. Because a person is not allowed to shoot at will. You are only allowed to defend yourself when you are under attack. When that attack has been abated, then the license holder must retreat. So we will enforce this later this year in the form of testing of license holders.
Chief Executive Officer of the Firearm Licensing Authority, Shane Darling. The National Commercial Bank employee charged in relation to a multi-million-dollar fraud was remanded today when he appeared in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court. 32-year-old Arsenio Johnson, a retail support officer at NCB, is charged with larceny as a servant, breaches of the Proceeds of Crime Act, and breaches of the Cybercrimes Act. The charges are in relation to claims that Johnson initiated unauthorized transfers of $5.86 million from the bank's suspense account to accounts associated with him. In making bail application on Johnson's behalf today, attorney-at-law Annette Henry told the judge that he was diabetic and hypertensive. The judge refused the application and pointed out that there were outstanding documents in the case. The judge said when the documents are submitted, another bail application can be made. Johnson is to return to court on September 12.